All right, welcome to the Franchise Time Machine. Oh, I should watch my stream to make sure I can hear myself. All right, how's that? Okay, I can hear myself. I don't know how long I can stay on the mic, but we will go as far as we can. Not sure how many folks will get tonight, but we are giving the last drops of PT26. This is your last chance. Supposedly, they are working to get us drops on Friday. Friday is the official release date of OOTP27. As you know, many people are playing the live beta right now, which came out today. And then everything will reset. So everything you do in Perfect Team will go away. I believe you can use your saves and quick starts from the beta in the live version. But just to be safe, I'm planning to redo the creator roster run environment on Friday as well. But to keep it in 26, most of what we're going to do today is OOTP 26 cleanup stuff. The leaderboards need some maintenance. I'll show you the results of a test I did in the beta, testing the player creation engine. Comparing it to 26 and 25, so it's it'll still be 26 content. Trying very hard to keep it to 26 content tonight, so that we don't get our hands slapped by Twitch. So let me show you what we got working on here. I've got I gotta adjust this. Let's see. Okay, I think this fits. So I'm making a slide like this for every one of our games, where it's gonna have our leaderboard champions for OOTP 25, OOTP 26, and so on. You can see how optimistic I am about how many seasons we're going to play. I set up a lot of forward-looking real estate on this. So we'll do low ball. And then we'll do a dead ball. The Nolan Wet Network, thank you for the raid. Awesome seeing you streaming again. I am on my mic as long as I can tonight. I hope your Mariner save went well. I think base game stuff you can save and reopen in the live version on Friday, but all Perfect Team stuff is going to get lost and start over on Friday. So yeah, Nolan, if you have to take off, have a good night. I know it's probably been a pretty long day for you. We are tonight. We are wrapping up OOTP 26. We're still giving away PT26 drops for anyone who's still collecting those. This is the last night you can get those. We're going to clean up our leaderboards, and we're going to create these all-time champion slides here. So I started with the original creator roster. So I didn't realize, although I guess it makes sense, EVC and NYC2 was still on the leaderboard at the end of the cycle. He came in very early in the cycle, took over. I mean, I think he increased the win total by almost 15. I think it was around 125 or 126 to 141. And then immediately, including the Nolan Network, the next day had 140. And then Clay Dog later had another 140. But it wasn't until the last day of the cycle that the Daywalker was finally defeated. Oh, you played on Hall of Fame difficulty, Nolan? That's... I am impressed. Only 2 free agents and 3 trades per season. Wow. See, I thought Hall of Fame would just make the trade engine harder. I didn't realize it would be so restrictive into how many moves you can make. Wow. Yeah, I play the base game without regard for any of that stuff. So I'm an editor. I'm forcing trades on other teams. But that's part of the beauty of OOTP. It was like there's so many ways you can play it. I mean, just in Perfect Team, there's an infinite number of ways to play. And then in the base game, same thing. There's as many ways to play as there are people playing the game. So, but that's why it's like I like watching people like the Nolan Network stream because he does stuff I don't do. And frankly, I don't want to do. So I'd rather watch him do it than have to do it myself. So yeah, here I can put up we'll show a little Nolan Network action here. Let's see, here's the leaderboard. Let me shrink it down a little bit so we can see a little more of it at once. So here we go. Let's do a test run, 132. 107, 121, 111, 125 by Ezra Denny. Ezra Denny had just set the record. And then EVC and NYC2 came on the next afternoon, I think, and destroyed it by more than 10%. I guess close to 15%, right? With 141 wins. And then the Nolan Network the very next night with 140. And if I remember correctly, that required like a 34-game winning streak to do that. 32 or 34-game winning streak to get to 140. And then no one got close. And then Claydov with another 140. And then we had a bunch of runs in the high to mid 130s, which hadn't happened in the gap between the 140s. But we had Max LP 80 with a 139, a 133, P Boom with a 136, Rev Jr. with a 137. And on the very last day, 147 by Smiley Face Jane. So that's where the 2005 was filled in. And I was looking at the 2006. There's a lot of empty spaces here that I was going to fill in tonight. So we got to go back to Flying WV's run number 4. This is where we'll open up the base game. I figured, there's plenty of time to do 27 stuff. And we might do some later tonight. But it'll be comparing it to 26. So I'm still going to keep it as a 26 stream. In fact, I've got some interesting data that if anyone has missed it, you might want to check this out. Probably want to stick around for this if you're interested in 27 and how it compares to 26 and 25 even. All right, so this is something we started last week, I think, where I ran 1,620 game season, which is a 10 season equivalent. But for some reason, the game will only run 1,512 games. And it's not hitting some limit because when I tried to run 648, which is 4 seasons, it stopped at 608. So something's causing it to hang up. But I took these 9.33, 9 in the third season equivalents, converted them to season equivalents, compare them to what actually happened in 2023, because 2023 is the one season that all three of these games will have in common. And then here's the percentage plus or minus from actual. You can see the stolen bases in 25 and 26 were just way higher than actual. All the other ones that are in the modifier list are close, which is what you would expect, because the whole purpose of the modifiers is to bring them back closer to IRL. So, they're not on the list. Maybe they need to be on the list. Stolen bases, caught stealing in particular. I don't know if it's coincidence or if errors were added, but they're not on the list. Right? And if you talk about like what makes an error feel like an error, errors and stolen bases and caught stealing, I think, have to be included. So I wasn't going to report this as a bug, but when I discussed it, apparently there's been a big discussion going about stolen bases. And so I chimed in and said, hey, I have this data. It says like stolen bases are just crazy. Like, yeah, maybe you should report that. And I'm like, okay, all right. Because if I want an error to feel true, stolen bases and caught stealing and errors are a big part of that. So are triples, so are strikeouts and home runs, right? They all kind of add to that feeling. So we'll be filling that in with 27. But again, it's a comparison to 26, so I feel okay streaming that under the 26 drops. So we'll do that later tonight. Leaderboard, again, we're going to go look at Flying W is run number 4. Oh, 4A. Anytime there's a 4 and then a 4A, that means there was something wrong with the setup for 4, and we went ahead and set up a 4A. Let's see. This doesn't seem to be the right one. Flying WV. This looks like a dead ball. Did I label this wrong? I might have labeled this wrong. Hold on a second. Oh, it was dead ball. Yeah, I'm not looking for. Oh, actually, let's just switch. Let's just switch to the dead ball leaderboard. As long as we have it up. So I must have missed one in here because Nerd of Anarchy just went most recently. So let me insert a row above. Also the Tigers. Okay, so this was... To get the game score, you go to the manager, GM manager actions, and then... history, manager history. All right, the game score was a 1078. The win total was 106. Runs scored was 793. Runs against was 490. That means the differential is 303. Oh, for now, that's the top run differential. Now, this will likely change as we put in Nerd of Anarchy's championship run here, but it's also the second highest run total. Again, we're going in kind of an arbitrary order tonight, so it's not actually in historic order. 490 is not the top 2 runs against. Okay, what happened in the postseason here? Lost 1-4. So they made it to the World Series, but were not the champion. And then the postseason awards, Cy Young Award came in 5th. And MVP won it with unanimously with a star level player. That's pretty awesome. That can happen a lot more in dead ball because the game engine is saying that a player is star, legend, or whatever by modern standards, not by dead ball standards. All right, how many All-Stars did they have? This is all stuff usually I track during the game. I don't know what might have happened here. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5. Now all this actually goes out the window because Nerd of Anarchy set a new record with 7 on his last run. So all these 5s are now out of the top 2. And all these 6s are now second place. Okay. Golden Gloves. Shortstop and left field, so 2. I think this Dave Altizer is an interesting player. Listed as a second baseman with a 45 rating, but is a center fielder with a 70 rating. And he won his Gold Glove in center field with legit center field stats. 20.7 zone rating, 2.39 range. Arm was negative, but incredible season in center field. And this is a second baseman that they put in center field. I wonder if he's had a perfect team card. Because this is a really fun profile for like a Swiss Army knife card from an era that doesn't, you don't like. I think a lot of like the Swiss Army knife cards we get are from the 70s and 80s. I think it'd be cool to have one from that era. So I was just showing this, right? He's 45 at second base. That's his listed position. But he won a Gold Glove in center field. 20.7 zone rating. So like a legit Gold Glove win. Because at first I thought, oh wow, like, we have had a few people win with a 45 rating, but then I realized that 45 is for second base. So then when I clicked into him, I was like, oh, that's crazy. The even crazier is Freddie Parent, who's a shortstop. He won one in right field, and he has no rating in right field. That's what actually I meant to ask the development team about, but I didn't want to ask them during the launch. But this is another one we should grab here. Because that's really weird that he would win a Gold Glove with no rating in right field. And then when you look at his fielding stats in right field, I mean, they're not great. 9.7 is decent, but I just thought it was weird that he would win. But, maybe I should grab Altizer's ratings too. Oh, you know what's my fishing? That might be right. Because we're in the off season now, it might have been recalculated. Yeah, that's a good point. But I noticed it during the awards season, but that also might be post recalculation. That's a good point. I think it gets recalculated at the end of the season, not January 1st. So I think Smiley Face Jane might be right. So we'd have to go back to the quick start to see what the rating was at the start of the season. Oh, that's terrible. In the 76 expansion draft, only AL players were eligible? Wow. Oh, so he wasn't even the exception. That's how it was before that too. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, until fairly recently, both leagues operated very independently. That's something I'm always reminded of when I read articles from like baseball history is how separately the National League and the American League were run. Whereas now it's like much more of a monolith. All right, and then let's look at the Silver Slugger Awards. But yeah, I think Smiley Faces Jane is right about this. By the way, I'm going to err on muting myself a lot tonight because I've been coughing a lot still. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 tigers. Was there ever a true two-way stud in any of the Sims? There was not one that was generated by the engine, no. But I may also not have had that setting on, or it could just be that as many players as we generate, we didn't generate enough. Because they are still unicorns. I mean, by playing Perfect Team, it makes it seem like there's so many, but those are so many over the course of Major League history, not like in a given season. So I think it's easy to forget how rare they are. Oops, that's not the one I wanted. I wanted that one. There we go. All right, and who were Flying W's top players? 8.0 legend level starting pitcher. And then, oops, I did it backwards. I don't know why I keep adding the parentheses. It's just so much easier to do. And then the best batter. Wow, an 11.4 and a 13.2. Star level 13.2. That is definitely a record for star level. And it's actually the highest batter we've had, period. Yeah, Deli, you're on. Let me show you what we're working on. You still had the second highest win total in Creator roster. You and Kind of 360s tied for second. Nerd of Anarchy just beat you a few runs ago. But now you'll be enshrined forever on this slide. At least for the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 versions of OOTP. Oh my goodness, could you imagine that if EVC... But the thing is, he was in the lead again for a while in OOTP26. All right, so let's see. So there's some green ink for Find OV in that run number 4. Let's go back here to Nerds run number 2. We'll start filling in from the back here in the dead ball one. So dead ball, Nerd of Anarchy number 2. There we go. Which chart? This chart? This is, so the first column is OOTP25. The second column is OOTP26. Yes, my face Jane, you won. You won in the last day in OOTP25. All right, so we're filling in this Nerdirect. You run number 2. Let's go to the team info stats. Run scored 747. That's tied for third at this point. Well, actually, we would have tied for second because that flying to rerun hadn't happened yet. And then the runs allowed was 583. Yeah, just too many runs allowed, that run by Nerd of Anarchy. Okay, and then how was the postseason? They did not make the World Series. So they could not be the champion. They did not have a postseason record. Their best pitcher WAR was 7.7. And that was from a good level. So pretty good for a good level player. But not good for your best on your team. And then the best batter WAR, well, pretty low. 4.7 from a legend level. So yeah, tough run by Nerdirect in the second run. In the first run, 104. Second run, I think I remember this too. He was pretty convinced that he had come up with the answer, right, to beat 108. Especially after having had 104, which is a great first run. Deli, by the way, who was in the chat earlier, came out hard in this one. Set the bar at 105. Until FindWV took it over to the 108. But yeah, that 105 withstood FindWV and Nerd of Anarchy's first run of 104. And the FindWV beat it. Nerd of Anarchy tied it. And then Nerd of Anarchy finally took over sole possession on the last run. But yeah, I remember after that 104, he's like, okay, I've made some adjustments. I've tested it out. And he was like convinced he was going to win like 113, I think. Nurvik, are you still here? Wasn't this the one you were like, you're pretty sure you had figured it out? And then for whatever reason, it was just like way underperformed. 115 is what you thought, yeah. And I'm only pointing it out because he eventually won it outright. I wouldn't be picking on Nerd of Anarchy if that's all that had happened. Yeah, 4.7 War Legend is crazy unlucky. And then Kainen 360 had a 101. So let's pull up Kainen 360's run. It's kind of fun to revisit these old runs. But yeah, Smileyface Jay makes a good point. That legend level, that's the highest war from your batters. That is hideous luck. All right, dead ball Kainen 360. We had to go to a B on this one, so I don't know what happened the first couple times. I probably first opened a regular creator roster quick start by mistake. That was probably mistake number one. All right, this is a 101 win season. 752 runs scored. Yeah, some of Nerd of Anarchy's teams don't do jack until September, and then they catch fire. Runs against 519. It's a great reminder, though. Like, you can't give up early in the sim. I mean, not that I give you the option of giving up, but... All right, let's see who Kainen's best pitcher was. 7.8 from legend Mario De La Rosa. And the best hitter... 8.6 from Allard Smetzers. Smetzers is just kind of a gross sounding name. Smetzers. Star level 8.1. Check out Find Me though in his last run with a star level 13.2. What a stud. All right, Nerdrecky's run number 3 with the New York Climbers. I don't even have a game score for this, and he was the co-leader with Flying WV. So let's open that one up. And thank you to everyone who played any of these games this cycle to help make these leaderboards meaningful in any way. You know, if like only a couple people play, it doesn't mean anything. So I appreciate everybody taking part here. Game score 1242. Doesn't crack the top 2. Doesn't even crack the top 3. All right, runs scored 755. Runs against 436. Ooh, 4036 is the lowest. As of right now, we don't have Nerd's 4th run in here yet, but... All right. Yeah. Finding me taking Detroit was definitely a genius move. 310, 319, top run differential. Oops. Everything else looks like it's in place. Let's look at best pitcher. Ooh, 10.8, 10.0 from Star. Oh, Tyler Rude. I remember Tyler Rude. This was the same night we got Jim Cum. It was the same night as Tyler Rude. 10.4 and a 9.4 and an 8.4. So stud rotation here. And that's a star 10.0. So that is the highest star level pitcher. And highest batter. Again, a little unlucky, I think. 5.9 from Peterson. 26 triples in center field. Hey, I always said baseball player names are allowed, so. Legend 5.9. So another tough luck run here. So you can only imagine how good this run could have been if this pitching staff were matched with a decent hitter, but topping out at a 5.9 WAR is just unlucky. All right, let's get to Flying V's run number 3. There it is. All right, what are we missing on this one? We're missing almost everything. So let's go to the runs scored 734. Runs against 516. That's a lot of runs against. .218. They did go to the World Series, and they won the World Series with the 98 wins. Wow. They were 4-3 in the postseason. And their best pitcher, 7.9 by Guzman. He's a star level. And then how was his player generation RNG? He had a 7.9 in Aaron Riggins at second base. But still, from a legend, you're looking for more than that. The sweet spot does seem to be star, though, with dead ball, because you're avoiding those power eye guys that get nerfed out of existence. All right, so let's go to the championship run, Nerd of Anarchy number 4. We know how the story's going to end, but let's see what it looks like. Because I don't know the runs for and runs against. I don't know where the win came from, necessarily. Runs scored 720. Very low for a championship run. Wow. It is one of the lowest. It is the third lowest run for runs scored. Runs against 460, which is not even. It's the fourth lowest. So in terms of run differential, not very impressive. 260, yeah. I mean, to be fair, it is the 4th best run differential. All right, let's see. World Series. Yes, it was a 4-2 win. Did win the Cy Young. 4th in MVP. Set the record with 7 All-Stars. Tied the record with 2 gold gloves. All right, top pitcher war, 11 from Legend Cruz. So that's the top Legend level pitcher. And then batter. You know, didn't get a ton of good luck, but had, I think, a breath of war. 7.26, 5.7, 4.8. A Legend 7.2 was the top. So if you look at the numbers, it doesn't look like a super impressive run. But what really matters is they squeezed out one more win than the other runs. The human sacrifice worked, yeah. All right, let's see. Let's update the dead ball slide now. So the dead ball slide is currently just a copy of this one. So this is there was a low ball in between, which is why this says fewest. Okay, so in OOTP26, the most wins was 109. And we can keep the logo up because Nerd of Anarchy also took that down. And then 108. 108 was by Fine WV and also Nerd of Anarchy. And I have Fine WV's logo here somewhere. I might have to find it. Where is it? Did he send it to me? Or did I just take it off of the internet? All right, here's what I can do. I can take it off of this background, I think. Let me duplicate the slide. Hold on, I'm doing stuff that you can't see for a second just to get this logo. Oh, you know what? I know exactly where I got this now that I've seen it. Let me just grab it from the source. Okay, so we just got to trim this down. Maybe crop it a little more. All right, so this is also Nerd of Anarchy. And this is Flying WV. And if we go back to 25, put the leaderboard back up. If we go to 25, it was Smiley Face Chain with 126 and Max LP 80 with 125. Oh, don't have to change the logo. Perfect. And then Max just sent me one of his logos, so let me go grab that. What a nice clean logo that is. That's awesome. All right. Max LP 80 for Dead Ball. Looks really good. Congrats, Nerd of Anarchy. Placing first and second. I went most wins and second most wins because I didn't want to say third if two people tied for first, right? So oh yeah, you're right. Because I copied this from the low ball. So that says most wins. That says most wins. This next one says fewest wins, which is low ball. All right, so I think we're caught up on the dead balls now. Yep. So now we got to clean up low ball. The busiest of the busy. Look at this crazy spreadsheet. All right, I'm not going to fill in my experiments because I never fill in mine. Find WV is run number 15. So we'll go with next. This spreadsheet makes me look insane, I realize. But really, who is more insane, me or the people who are watching me? The people who choose to watch this, I think, may be more insane. All right, so low ball. And find WV number 15. Well, yeah, of course. Just, yeah. I mean, do serial killers have dogs? I don't know. Maybe they do. All right, so runs for and runs against. Runs for is 714. That's a lot. Oh, no, actually, it's second lowest. 650, though, is crazy. Find we gave up 650 or scored 650 runs. 714. Runs against 961. That's a differential of negative 247. Not even close to the record of negative 452. The worst pitcher war. Negative 4.9. Not even close to the record. That's how bad those pictures were. Negative 4.9. Scrub. Worst hitter war. Negative 2.4 is legit bad. Negative 2.4, and that was for a bench level player. Oh, this is where we still track the mouse hover for the low ball. (26, 21, 22). That's legit bad across the board. That's hard to do. 29, 26, fifth. And this is the sum of those. And of course, higher is worse. 129. Ooh, one off the record. Yeah, that's legit bad team performance there. They were worse than their division, but not worse than the league. So it's a yes, no, no. Okay, we have everything else. Okay, Kynan 360 is run number 5. We were running so many of these for a while that if they didn't, take over the leaderboard, I just didn't fill in all the details. All right, Kynan 360 is run number 5. An uncharacteristically high 58 win performance. As the Rockies, runs scored 867. That's a lot. Runs against 1105. That's a lot. Differential negative 238. Worst pitcher negative 4.8. Jonathan Elder scrub. Worst batter negative 1.9. Nesty Lopez in center field. All right, the mouse hovers. 6, 7, 12. Yeah, that's a problem. Offense too good. 30, 30, and third. That's pretty good. But with the offense being that good, it's kind of tough. So all these 30s, of course, are going to be... There's Crouton rumbling over there. Okay, and did this team, they were last in the division, last in the league. Oh, the White Sox with 40 wins. So they were a yes, yes, no. Nerder Ranky, thank you for the scritches for Crouton. He was probably starting to feel a little neglected over there. There you go. These are Nerd of Anarchy scritches for you. All right, and then we did a Kynan experiment, which we're not going to count. And then a Flying WV run number 16. Much like Max and OOTP25, Flying WV kept the interest in low ball high. I feel like Max kept the interest in chasing down EVC high in OTP 25. All right, so find we did Colorado this time. Yep. Runs 4. Sorry, I had some coughs there. 811 runs 4. Which for Colorado, not too high. Runs allowed 1084. That's a run differential of negative 273. The worst pitcher, negative 5.1 from scrub Miguel Guerra. And the worst batter, negative 1.4 from center fielder. That's a bench level player as well. Okay, the mouse hover questions. This 26th place was actually the second worst runs total that the Find a V had. So, oops, not that one, not that one. And 21st, 22nd. No. Oh, these 29s are, that's the second best. One time there was a 30th in defensive efficiency. The next worst was a 20. Oh, there was a 29th by Flying WV. You really got to go all in on bad defense, though, for that. And so the bat usually suffers then. Kind of 360. Thank you for the sub. 11 months. 10-month streak. Thank you for the ongoing support. And thank you also for this. I laugh every time I see it. This logo. Permanently enshrined on the creator roster leaderboard. The crying Jordan's so funny. I thought it was so funny when I saw that in a tournament, and then I clicked on it. It was kind in 360. I was like, unbelievable. So funny. But yeah, thank you for the ongoing support. I appreciate that. All right, up next. Oh yeah, we're doing the mouse hovers for Find MV number 16. So let's see what that looks like. In case anyone's new, all of these games that we were talking about are just channel point redemptions. So as a sub, Kynan will get his channel points faster from Twitch. And I also thank my subs by offering a discounted channel point redemption for subs. And if you're a tier 2 like Max or a tier 3 like Flying WV, tier 2s get 1 free game per month, and tier 2s get 2 free games per month. All right, so we're looking at the mouse hover questions. 11th, 15th, and 15th. So, middle of the range. Actually, pretty impressively low considering it's Colorado. And then defensive, 30th, 29th, 11th. All right, so that's what that ended up looking like. 30th is, of course... Oh, 30th and 29th. We'll just copy this here. It has the right color codes. All right, and how did this postseason? Oh, actually, no. They were last in their division. They were last in their league. But man, the White Sox with 52 wins. So yes, yes, no. Here's how hard low ball is. Of all these runs, only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 so far managed to get the worst record in the majors. It's always because the White Sox or the Rockies are just sucking. It's just hard to finish that bad. Even if you take over one of them, the other still sucks. All right, find number 17. Oh, kind of number 6 is incomplete. So let's go kind of number 6. Oh, wait, where's kind of number 6? Oh, it's probably under kind of 360 number 6. That was inconsistent in my labeling. The interesting thing about Nerd of Eric's approach in low ball was he just did, I think, a lot of watching and learning, because he came in and only did 2 runs at the very end and took over the leaderboard, so, or tied the leaderboard with kind of 360. But we'll look at that in a second after we get all these up here. Oh, wait a second. I skipped ahead. Oh, no. All right. Kind of 360 number 6 is up here. Orioles runs 4 and runs against. Runs for 804. Runs against 980. Ooh, that's pretty tight. That's not a big differential. And the worst pitcher. Oh, wow. Only a negative 1.5 from Jesus Heredia. And the worst batter. Hopefully you went all bat here. And negative 2.8. Well, negative 2.8 at first base is kind of impressive. And that's a scrub level first baseman. All right, let's do the mouse hovers. 10th, 21st, 17th. And then on the defensive side, 29th, 11th, and 14th. Yeah, this is one of those runs that's kind of like in the middle. And it's just, I think it's just hard to do well in low ball when you're in the middle. You gotta be just, even like just picking one side to be really bad at, like Colorado, I think tends to do better. And then let's look at last in the division, but not last in the league. The White Sox and the Angels. So yes, no, no. Okay, we've got to complete find every number 17. The dreaded no, no, no. Not worse in your division, the league, or MLB. That has only happened 1, 2, 3, 4 times. All right, find Bees run number 18. Yeah, it's rough when you win 70 games. Runs scored 866. Runs allowed 928. Differential is negative 62. Definitely one of the lowest run differentials. Okay, worst pitcher. negative 4.6. Pretty good from a low ball perspective. And worst batter. Yeah, negative 0.7. And that's from a part-time player. The mouse hovers. 6/20/14. And then the defensive side. Ooh, 29/21, but then 1. The 1 gets you the dreaded red. All right, and that's a total of 91. They were last in their division, though, so they got the no, yes, yes. Oh, the yes, no, no. Sorry, the yes, no, no. I meant sorry. All right, Kynan360's run number 7 was with the Blue Jays. Have you all been playing the 27 beta today, by the way? I hope you've been having fun with that. Okay, runs scored 808. The Hawaii area code 808. Runs allowed 1075. That's a legit number of runs allowed. Wow. Negative 267. Worst pitcher. We're going to have a bad pitcher in here somewhere. Not that terrible. Eric Cumro. That's right. Claydon likes to avoid beta. Yeah, I don't blame you. I feel like part of my job is to kick the tires for everybody, so I've been playing it. Scrub. Have not purchased yet from Kynan360. All right, worst batter. Negative 2.1 from Godfried Bender. That's a heck of a name. And the first 2 or worse we've had since Kynan360's negative 2.8. Yeah, a 5-WAR bench player. Yeah, there's a 5.7 legend, of course, but a 5-WAR bench player. Yeah, look at this profile. It's very flat. I mean, you can't expect this profile to give you 5-WAR, you know? Yeah, maybe that's what we should track too, the most positive WAR player. Like, that's the player that kind of ruined your chances, probably. So let's do the mouse hover. 12/24/12. That's decent. Decently bad. And then 29/29/7. That's pretty decently bad too. And that sums to 113. They were worse than the division, but not worse than the league, so it's a yes, no, no. I mean, it's not as bad as getting a Triple Crown player in low ball. All right, so now we come to Nerviki's first run. Way down here near the end of the cycle. or not near the end of the cycle, near the end of kind of the tail end of low ball. But what I did like though is I was starting to wonder if the game had shifted, right? Because we did have something happen in OTP25 where the relief pitcher generation shifted, so I had to make a rule change, and I think we survived that pretty well. Let's see. Yeah, the rule change happened, and I think we still managed to keep the competitiveness going. It happened around here, I think. And then we still had some runs with low win totals, so, I feel like we made the necessary adjustment. Look how bad these teams were. 20 wins. Very Vashy with 20 wins. The, the, the winning team in 26 had 44 wins. That's how bad the scrubs were. And so the scrubs got better. Even making teams take so many more scrub and bench players, I couldn't get the win totals down. But when Nerd came in with the 44 in run number 2, it was good validation though that the game had not shifted in a way that you couldn't match what happened earlier in the cycle. Like this 44 was right back to where the leaders were in mid cycle. So I'm glad Nerd of Anarchy showed that it can still be done. But let's look at Nerd of Anarchy's first run, which was not as successful. But I'm assuming contributed to the knowledge for run number 2. And if Nerd of Anarchy's in the chat wants to, put in the chat kind of what he remembers of that first run contributing to the second run, I'd be curious to know. So we have the run differential negative 292, which again is good but not the worst. 413 and 452, which are insane run differentials, were the worst. Even his championship run, which we're skipping ahead, only negative 294. But the worst pitcher on this team, only a negative 4.3, Justin Jenkins. And the worst batter? Oh, that's where you make some separation. A negative 3 first baseman. Wow. But, Smiley Face Chain pointed out the 5 WAR earlier. An 8.2 from right field. From a good level right fielder. That's brutal. You think the batting RNG because the pitching was so bad already? Are you saying batting creation RNG or batting RNG during the season? Let's do the mouse hover here. It's 22nd, 18, and 23rd. Which are legit bad for Colorado. That's the key there. During, okay. 30, 29, 9. Ooh, 131. That is the second highest. The second highest total of all the rankings, right? Because if you want to be ranked, the lower number is better here. So these are impressively bad rankings in the majors. And 131 is the second highest total since Reb Jr.'s 136. So kind of 360 had the second highest sum of those until Nerd of Anarchy took that over. And so, yeah, and so for the Rockies, this is hard to do, right? The defensive part is easy, the 30 and the 29. But the offensive part, to go 22, 18, and 23, 23rd in home runs as the Rockies, impressive. Impressively bad. And so I think here you can see the seeds of what's to come, right? When Nerdavariki takes over the lead in the next run. Worse than division, but not worse than the league. The Pirates with 54 wins, and the White Sox with 52. So it's still a yes, no, no. So Nerd's first run was like a rookie season where, it's doesn't stand out. But if you really look at the fundamentals, you're like, there's some impressive underlying statistics there. Right? The fact that you could finish, again, as the Rockies and finish 22nd, 18th, and 23rd in the three offensive categories, there's definitely something happening there. All right, we got Kynan 360's run number 8. And let's see. What do we have? We need the worst pitcher. Negative 4.5 from John Strauss. So it seems like you need at least 2 -4 WAR pitchers, starting pitchers. That's like table stakes, seems like. And then the worst batter, yes, a -0.6. You had 2 -0.6s. That's just not negative enough, I think. And then so we'll go to the mouse hovers. Yeah, there's a bunch. I like this YFHA pointing out the higher war. There's, this is a longer tail, but a 5.9, a 4.7, a 4.7. Now, 2 of them are the legend level catchers. So you have to kind of discount that a little bit, but. All right, and then let's do the mouse hover questions. 13, 8, 12. And then 28, 28, 5. So that's a sum of 94. They were worse in their division, but the Angels had only 50 wins in the league. Okay, so this is where we were at this point when Nerd's about to take his second run. And I'm starting to feel like no one's been worse than the majors in at least 10 runs, right? Going back to Flying W's run number 13. No one's had, the fewest wins we've had was 52 and 49. And that's going back a dozen runs. And I'm starting to wonder, do I need to make an adjustment here? And Nerd of Anarchy, I think around this time, is especially saying, I think I figured it out. And I'm like, look, I've heard this before. I've heard Max saying, I know how to get 150 wins. I've heard other people saying, I know how to do this. And I'm like, look, just don't be disappointed if it doesn't go your way during the stream, because there's so much RNG involved. But sure enough, Nerd America comes on and just crushes it with 44. Ties Kynan 360's record. And I believe, did you have to go on a lose? Let's take a look. I think there was like a losing streak involved just to do this. Let's see what can. I think we can look at the calendar and see kind of what we're dealing with here. Yeah, you won the last 4 in a row. And I think the last 3 were not too much in doubt because they were against the Dodgers, but you needed to lose 2 out of 3 against the Cardinals. So one of the great things about taking the Rockies is 6 of your last 9 games are against the Dodgers. And so Noriega took full advantage of that. Went 1-8, 1-8 in the last 9 games, and 1-10 if you go back to the second to last loss against Arizona. But this was an incredible month when you look at it. Yeah, September. Let's see, 25 games and 3 wins. 3-22 in September. That is so clutch. A 120 win percentage in September to tie the record. Kind of 360. Are you watching this? This is what it took to tie your record. A 120 September winning percentage is what it took. Sadly. And after this 407 in June, I was like, you know, I hope I prepared Note of Anarchy for this because he was really excited about his approach. And then a 308, it was like, yeah, it's not going to cut it. And then the 357 is like, it was a nice run. You'll probably be in the 50s, which we haven't had a run in the 50s in a while. And then 3-22 down the stretch was insane. That is an incredible run to finish the season. And frankly, I'm glad it ended in a tie because I think Kynan had a worthy low ball championship season way back in his early run too. So I think it's good that we can still celebrate both teams. All right, the worst pitcher. What does Nerd of America want to wait about? Let's see. Did he actually only win 43 games? Yeah, a lot of these lowball teams have the best defensive efficiency. This is in the NL. You might still be second or third in the majors. Run scored 747. Oh yeah, we already have that. So we just need the worst pitcher. Again, nothing huge. Negative 4.3. The worst batter. Again, no one below -1, negative 0.9. But that's from an average level player, which is pretty bad. Your 2 worst WARs are from average level players, which is pretty outstanding low ball player creation. All right, let's go to the mouse hovers. 18, 12, 17. Not even as bad as the previous run, which won too many games. 30, 30 in second. All right, so I'm going to flip over here and see what does that sum to. 109. Not even as bad as the previous run of 131st. But were they worse in their division? Yes. Worse in their league? Yes. And worse in the majors. So the first time that's happened in about a dozen runs. And we have one last Ezra Denny run to finish this out. So let's look at Ezra Denny. Let's look at the date too, because the last time anyone played low ball was when Ezra went. January 30th was the last time anyone played low ball. I mean, I know everyone shifted to dead ball, but I was a little surprised that there wasn't a little more activity trying to tie that 44 or beat that 44. All right, let's see. Runs scored and runs against. Runs scored 854. It's a lot of runs. For low ball, it's a lot of runs. Runs against 974. I think just not enough. Just not enough run differential. Worst pitcher. Yeah, no one in the fours. Negative 3.5 was the worst scrub level pitcher. And the worst batter. Now, it wasn't average level player, but a negative 0.9 was the worst. And you got a 5.2 average and a 5.5 good level here. All right, let's see how the mouse hovers went. 8, 20, and 7. And then 30, 28, and 12. That's a respectably bad defensive efficiency there. It's hard to do that without picking up too much bat because, a lot of these players you're choosing from are trade-offs. And a lot of times you're trading off glove for bat. Okay, worst in the division, but not worse in the league or the majors. Padres finished on a 16-game win streak to finish 90 and 72. All right, so the leaderboard is updated. We already know who the champions are. Co-leaders, Kind360 and Nerd of Anarchy. And I think I've gone, it's the order of who had the lead first. So it'll be Kind360. With 44 wins. And then 48 wins is Kind360. I should have just left this down there. It's actually kind of impressive that Kind360 dominated low ball like that. All right, then if we go back to 25, actually that leaderboard's a mess. I didn't fill in a bunch of these back then. But it's Barry Basher with 20 and Spike HA with 26. Yeah, I thought you were in the clear too. That was a stunning performance by Nerd of Anarchy. All right, so Barry Basher first, right? Yes, Life HG second. 26 wins. 20 wins is crazy. I don't have a logo from Barry Basher. So what should we put in here? What should be our default logo? What's our Gym Unknown logo? The dirty baseball. Let me see. Oh, hold on. Let me see if I can do that. I think I can do that. Hold on. Let me switch because I think it's in the same deck as this one. So let me put this back up. So I'm going to do a shape crop, right? Do a circular shape crop. Apparently this dirty baseball is not very round. Why is this baseball not round? That's so weird. Even with the laces, you'd think it'd be closer to round. All right, how's that? Is that good? Is that a good placeholder logo? If you don't give me a logo, you get the dreaded dirty baseball. So Barry Basher 20 wins with the dirty baseball logo. I wonder if I can fill in these. I probably can't. Kayaking Santa had a. Oh wait, this is. Oh yeah, this is low ball. Okay, yeah, it's low ball. Kayaking Santa. Oh, I'd have to open up 25. That's the problem. All right, so in 27, one of the things I'd like to do, I'd like to get more people playing studs and duds. The Atlanta Timids, yeah, that was when there was still a lot of teams being named after. You could rename players in the complete average league, and so there was like Curtis Blanderson, and then and the teams were getting renamed too. AW, thank you for the raid. Welcome in, Raiders. Hope you had a good stream, AW. We are cleaning up our leaderboards from our creator roster games in OOTP26. And I wanted to create these leaderboard pages for future seasons. So create a roster in OOTP25. Our champion was Smiley Face Jane. Second most wins was EVC and NYC2. Oh, that's great. Thank you for reporting bugs, AW. That's awesome. And then OOTP26, Nerd of Anarchy, had the most wins. Kaiden 360 and Deli Sports had the second most wins. You do? Don't you do that for your job too? Something like that? Do you do like QC or QA or something for work? Yeah, since you do QA for yeah, that's great. And then in low ball, kind of 360 Nerd of Anarchy had the fewest wins at 44. Kind of had the second fewest wins as well. Oh wait, I need to put Smiley Face Jane's logo in here. Forgot to do that. So let's copy this. There we go. That's the low ball. And then the dead ball. So one thing I think worth noting here is in 25, you see Smiley Face Jane on all of these. And then 26, you see Nerd of Anarchy on all of these. Who will it be in 27? Will it be Flying WV? Will it be Lisa Loves Biology? Who knows? No one knows. Definitely AW. So yeah, I hope that Studs and Duds can gain as much traction in 27. If the Sims work normally again, you're definitely gonna try. All right. Some of the numbers threw you off so hard you never want to try. Yeah, I can understand it being frustrating for sure. But you know, it took a lot of runs for you to finally catch EVC in 25 too. So, but yeah, I get that it was probably frustrating in a different way in 26. I still can't believe Barry Basher had that 20 win season in low ball. I mean, look at this leaderboard. It had been 49, 34. Jeff the Jar set the bar low at 34. And then Slyfish Jane came in close to 35. And then finally took over with 26, which is lowering a 34 win record by 8. Which is an insane percentage. And then Barry Basher drops it another 6, which is crazy. So hold on, let me get my calculator up here for a second. 34 stood for a long time. And then Smiley Face Jane reduced it by 8. So 8 divided by 34 is 26.5%. So Smiley Face Jane came in and lowered the record by a quarter, over a quarter. And then the next day, Barry Basher comes in and lowers it another quarter. Or, from the previous record, 14 divided by 34, which is what Barry Basher did, a 41% reduction in the record. And all this stuff happened like around the last week of the cycle. That's insane. I don't know what they figured out either, but it was wild. Barry Basher had a 43 game losing streak. And a starting pitcher went 0-31 with a 12.50 ERA. That's incredible. Hold on, let me get my calculator up here. Reminds me of the common math teacher trope growing up. You won't always have a calculator in your pocket. I know, right? I have a calculator right here in my pocket at all times. So I went so try hard that last week trying to get those records. Yeah, but that was fun. That was the fun of it. You and Max, I think Max was going hard and create a roster at the end. I thought that made it a lot of fun. All right, so yeah, so we're going to look to add on to this in 27. So you'll have your logo and your name up here for at least 10 cycles. 8 more cycles. That's how long I'm predicting I'm going to stream. This is like when I told Barry Bash I was thinking about naming his lowball runs 001. All right, so the leaderboards are cleaned up for the most part. These O5s, I don't know if I'll ever get to those. These will be what we update each cycle with the runs. I've got at least 8 more years of me. That's right. That's right. You know what? I'm going to be optimistic. I'm going to put in here studs and duds. And we're going to start in OOTP27. That's fine. And we actually did have a decent number of runs. I wonder, I think we should just go ahead and fill in 26. I didn't give away any packs. I did give away packs for the other 3, but the record keeping wasn't very good either. So that's on me too. But Flying WV was number 1 with 93 wins, and Deli Sports was number 2 with 86 wins. And this is where we figured out if you optimize for regular season, it's almost impossible to win the World Series because you don't have enough good pitchers. If you optimize for the World Series, it's hard to get into the World Series because you have to optimize around pitching. Oh, yours isn't in here yet? Well, let's see. We can see what happened there. Let's pull that in. Narrative Anarchy studs and duds run. This is also a brutal thing to draft because you have so many scrubs. You have so many scrubs you're drafting. It is a little crushing. He did. Nuremberg did make the playoffs. 85 wins. Let's see. Let's do this. Let's see. Let's get the manager. The game score 577. 85 wins. 4 games behind. Oh, so second best games behind. Takes over from Flying WV. 85 wins is still third best. Runs scored 837. You're letting a 1220 pack continuous pack open a beta just run. That's amazing, AW. How'd you get that many packs? Because did you do that thing where you did you buy and quick sell the Pee Wee Reese? Yeah. Yeah, you get 50K at a time doing that. That's right. That's awesome. That's fun. Let's see. Runs. Ooh, runs against 856. A negative run differential, still won 85 games. That's pretty impressive. Did make the playoffs. Oh, made it to the World Series. Holy cow. This was a yes, yes, no. I forgot about this. Yes, yes, no. Oh, I know. This is okay. This is another reason why I didn't do a leaderboard final for this. It's because we never decided what's more important: the the win total of the World Series championship. That's why we didn't do that. And we'll have to figure that out for 27. Because whatever we incentivize is going to change people's behavior. Maybe it's like your win total doesn't count unless you win the World Series. Or there's got to be something tied into the postseason too. Was it a reverse sweep? We can take a look. We can take a look at that. Oh, brutal. It was a reverse sweep. Oh, that's just terrible. Wow. Man, that's awful. Maybe that's something you guys can help me workshop as we start up on 27 is because on the other games it's clearly like fewest wins or most wins. Yeah, that's a good point, Clay Dog. It could be like each win is a point, and then each round in the playoffs is another point, another set of points. Or maybe we just make a World Series championship worth like 25 points or something. Or we could base it on game score. Because here the game score did favor the World Series winner, but slightly. Right, so find if you won 7 more games. Yeah, I don't trust game score either, and I know Max will never play if it's game score. But I just don't trust that I know how many points to assign to a World Series win. Because if we assigned, let's say, 15 points, or even if we assigned 10 points, then Delhi Sports wins. If we assign 5 points, which seems too low, then Flying WV wins. Yeah, we'll have to figure that out. I think that's why we can't do a leaderboard winner for 26 because we never really. And maybe that's why people didn't play as much because it wasn't really clear. Like, is it wins or is it World Series? I think per round of playoff is too cheap. I think it's got to be World Series. Or at least Championship Series and World Series. Claydol likes round, but then you do you get extra points for being a wild card? Like I don't necessarily feel like you should be rewarded for winning a wild card. If we start with Division Series, then I'm more on board. Okay, ignore the wild card. What if we make it like all right? If we made it 1, 3, and 10, Division Series is 1. The League Championship Series is 3. And then the World Series is, let's say, 10. Because then Delhi Sports, if Delhi Sports hadn't won the World Series and only won the first two, Flying W still wins. But by winning the World Series, Delhi Sports takes over. I think I like that, but we would need to set the rules at the beginning of the cycle. But I think something like that could make sense. And I like the World Series being more than just like a few points more than the championship series because there should be a lot of weight on the World Series. 1-3-10 might be too harsh, but it's like something like that. 2-4-8 like the NCAA bracket scoring. Yeah, I just don't like the World Series only being double the previous round. You like that idea for all the games, like World Series having some weight? Well, that would make it more interesting too, because then let's see what would have happened in previous rounds. Let's see. Let's say create a roster 26. Well, all the teams that had 134 and 138 wins won the World Series too. I did start tracking the postseason record because I wanted to acknowledge that like Delhi Sports went undefeated in the postseason and Psycho Ducko went undefeated in the postseason. But I think at that level, most of those teams are kind of stomping through the postseason. Well, yeah, I yes, I do need to remember to do format every time. That's true. Oh, look at this. My Face Jane already has 2 historic games redeemed, redeeming a third. Thank you, Spy Face Jane. I know Spy Face Jane was waiting on some of those historic games for the new game engine, so we've been waiting for those. Wait, why are I thought I just filled a bunch of these in? Didn't I just fill a bunch of these in? Did I not fill this in? Oh, you know what? I had already done the creator roster slide, so I didn't. Yeah, I don't think I filled this one in. No one really came close though, so we can fill that in maybe. Well, by Thursday I'll be doing 27. So all right, so Clay Dog's gonna play a game. Spyface Jane's gonna play another game. This is fun. We're already getting people signed up. We don't even have games yet. Narrative Anarchy's gonna play a game. Oh yeah, so let me show you a test I did in preparation for playing games. So here's what I did the other day with the beta. Because Max messaged me and said, I think the scrubs are bad again. Because he said he did a all scrub creator roster team and only won 8 games. So like, whoa, 8 games is worse than OTP 25. But I did it and got 25 wins, which is pretty close to OTP 26. So I think what I might do is Thursday, we'll set up the creator roster runner. Actually, I might do this tomorrow night since Ezra's not streaming. I don't have my normal Wednesday night commitment. Um, if I as long as I'm not feeling too sick, and tonight I feel okay actually. Maybe we could do the bench level tomorrow night, and then Thursday we can start doing some testing to fill out this thing. Right, we can start doing some 27 stuff. So, or maybe I'll do this thing tomorrow night. We'll do this because I do want to submit it to the beta barn. And then this we can do Thursday night. And once we kind of, and I didn't even feel like I need to do good or star last time around. And we'll do the testing like we did last time with the 8,000 players created. But I think if we could get bench and legend here, I'll feel pretty good about calibrating creator roster and low ball, and low ball. So yeah, so we'll figure out something to do there. Well, yeah, Clayton. I mean, part of the goal was that the channel point redemption be a level that if someone's a regular here, that they never have to worry about having enough points to play. Was I a daily iron in beta? No, I entered a couple of perfect drafts, and then I didn't realize they don't fire for like a day. So yeah, I'm not in any traditional tournaments in the beta yet, but it was fun to start playing. Oh yeah, no, I cannot check who won. Why are you in the final? Oh no, I didn't think you were complaining, but when you said like, "What am I gonna do with the channel points?" I'm like, "Yeah, you're supposed to play games." And the idea was like, if I got enough regulars where it was like too many redemptions coming in, I would slowly like ratchet up the points. But I think so far it's been like naturally kind of at a decent level where we always have a few people playing, but it's never like overwhelming. So I think I haven't had to like tamper with the numbers. Yeah, that's a good idea. We could do channel point. I think that's easier if there's a mod around. So if like Speckle or Smiley Face Jane are around, we could do that. Because it just becomes like between that and the pack giveaway and everything, it's like it becomes a bit much for me to run. But yeah, that would be fun too. But I think Studs and Does definitely needs the postseason streak. I don't know about messing with the others though, because I kind of like the purity of just like wins for low ball and regular creator roster. Like I get that if you finish the season with like 128 and the record's 130, then it's kind of like whatever for the postseason. But I don't know. I feel like people still like trying to go for that World Series win. Otherwise, they wouldn't care if I go to a 4-man rotation or not. But maybe I can ask for like a few extra packs or something, so that if someone sweeps their way to the postseason, which has only happened a few times, like maybe I could give a few extra packs or something. But I mean, the fact is, most of these teams that are good, they win the World Series. Right? The 134 teams both won. The 138 won. The 130 won. The 125 won. Yeah, like What's the highest win team that did not win? The 126 from Kynan didn't win. That's probably the only high win team that didn't win a World Series. And the 122 from Flying WV. Those are probably the only two. Yeah. And then for low ball, there is no postseason. But I think for studs and duds, I'm very open to, because then that solves the problem of, are you going for World Series or are you going for regular season wins? Because once I realized there was that split, it made it hard to, award a winner for that. I'm starting to like 1, 3, and 10, but we'll take another look at it. Or 1, 3, 9 works too, because then each round is 3 times more valuable than the previous round, which I like better than the 2, 4, 2, 4, 8. Now I'm leaning towards 1, 3, 9. I kind of like 1, 3, 9. And the maximum benefit you can get is 13 points. And frankly, if you optimize for wins, you're probably still going to have a chance to win 1 or 2 rounds. I just don't want the total to be so much that it tips everyone in one direction. So maybe it's one. I don't want to go as low as 125, but it's gonna be something like that. I'll have to think about it, but that's a really good suggestion though, to factor that in for studs and duds. Oh, is Dick Lyons back in the game? That's amazing. Oh, Lyra redeeming switches for Crouton. Thank you. There you go, buddy. These are Lyra switches. All right. Let's see. I was hoping to hang in long enough to rate an Ophi, but I am about done. I haven't done voice in a long time. So I think we'll try to raid Ophi on Thursday, our Thursday. But there is a live sumo tournament going on, so I think we'll raid into Midnight Sumo. Unless anyone else is streaming OOTP. Let me check to see if anyone else is streaming OOTP. Nope. So yeah, let's raid Midnight Sumo. We haven't done that in a long time either. It is day 4 of one of the national sumo tournaments. Let me see if I can figure out which one. Okay, this is the one in Osaka. So we're going to raid Midnight Sumo tonight. Thanks for being here, everybody. I hope you all got your fill of OOTP26 drops. Congratulations to our leaderboard winners again. Nerd of Anarchy, Kaiden 360, Deli Sports, Smiley Face Jane, EVC and NYC2. Barry Basher, Flying WV, and Max LP80. Thank you, Smiley Face Jane. Yeah, I am feeling better. And thank you for the raid, AW. And thank you for the raid, the Nolan Network, who's back streaming. Always fun seeing Nolan Network streaming again. And yeah, and we'll do stuff like this maybe tomorrow, but definitely Thursday. Because my facing gets stickers for those wins. I don't even know what the stickers are all about, man. You're gonna make me cough while I'm laughing so hard about that right now. Oh man, I think the closest we could get to stickers is getting emotes. All right, OOTP27 will be the tag starting tomorrow night or Thursday. Everybody, all right, enjoy some Midnight Sumo. Midnight Sumo is a Canadian streamer that streams live Japanese sumo tournaments, does the commentary in English, so you can understand what's going on. And I, I speak Japanese. I understand the Japanese commentary, but I still understand it better with the help of Midnight Sumo, just because he knows sumo pretty well and explains it pretty clearly. So, so enjoy.